Welcome back to a new episode of Open Topics. Yeah, I haven't done one of these since frickin' March. Why? Didn't have anything to talk about. That's mainly the reason for that. This episode, I'm talking about some good news and bad news coming out of Marvel and DC. Let's talk about some bad news from Marvel. Now, mostly DC is mostly a lot of good news. Well, basically, there's like a couple pieces of good news, which I'm going to share later. Let's start with the bad news. Okay. There are three titles at Marvel that are getting restarts. Now, yes, they're getting new Raiders, which I think is fantastic. but, and along with pretty much almost everybody else who reads Marvel comic books, thinks this is a very stupid marketing concept, and Marvel should stop doing this. We have been begging them for years to stop this. This is stupid. Really, really stupid. And yet, Marvel just loves that number one. It's like someone once made a joke about this that I know it's basically kind of disgusting to discuss this, but it's like you have the word Marvel and you have the number one, and you have the Marvel sort of doing this to it, basically milking it for all it's worth. I think this is stupid, and I would have thought though after last year. Now this year, surprisingly, as far as I can tell, and this is quite a surprise from Marvel, there were no restarts to number one this year, which thank you God for that. Yeah, that'll be one of the good things. Basically, I'll talk a little more about this in my next video. In my video things when I talk about later on this month of things basically that good happen this year. It's like yeah, and then it's like gets us started next year. It's like okay, we have like three books getting started number one for like absolutely no reason. I mean, one book, I think there was one book they did announce that was going to number one. This one I didn't know about, but it's the only book, not like several books that Marvel tends to do every year for stupid marketing purposes, which I think they should stop. I would have thought that with Kevin Feige in charge, they would tell he probably wouldn't know as though, yeah, the whole thing of constantly restarting number one is an absolute stupid concept. It needs to stop. If you want number one, fine. Either start a brand new series or revive an old series. Don't restart a current book. And the fact it's Marvel's very stupid policy that it's been in effect since I think like 2010, where anytime, actually since like 2012, actually it's more like this since 2012, like anytime we get a brand new raider to a particular series, we have to hit the restart button on the damn book, which I think is stupid, really stupid. What's wrong with continuing numbering? What is wrong with that? Seriously, this is stupid. It needs to stop. Excuse me. Now, the three books in question, again, reason number one, are the following: Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Star Wars. Star Wars, initially, I think everybody thought the series was going to end because they announced 75 as the final issue of the series. And of course, like Prime Power from AEW, yes, I still watch this, but I haven't done reviews for it. And they do think Brandon like, we lied! And kick him right in the face. Yep. And Marvel lied about issue 75 of this recent run of Star Wars being the last issue of that series. Yeah, that was a big fat lie on their part. Yeah, that was a lie just to spread the fact that, yeah, we're going to restart the series in like 3 months. Okay, fine. At least it's not like the way they usually do it, where they do like the following month or they do it like the next week after the last issue came out, which I think is stupid. Yeah, I'm hoping Marvel eventually gets away from that. Another book that I know is going to relaunch in the year is basically Doctor Strange. As Doctor Strange Surgeon Supreme, which I'm looking forward to reading that when it comes out, because I love Doctor Strange. Now, basically, yeah, that was the bad news, but those three books get restarted. Now, the three books, Star Wars, basically, I don't have a really big problem with this restarting number one because at least this one's been publishing more like a year or two before it had restarted. It had been publishing by the time it ended this year. It had been publishing for 4 years, non-stop. 4 years. Since 2015 we've had this book published. And the book went through two Raiders and did not restart number one. And yet, for some reason, Star Wars just had to do this. I will talk about what basically they're going to discuss. There's also another series that's ending, and that's Dr. Aphra. I think this is a great book. I love it. Sad to see it go, though. For some reason, they're kind of going for the ending of the first volume with Darth Vader. For some reason, I don't know why. But I'll talk about Darth Vader. So that's one piece of good news. In the case of DR2, Thor just restarted. Now it's restarted again the next year. Now they just restarted numbering for this book like last year, and yet almost 2 years later, we're hitting the restart button book again. All because of Brandon Ray came on board, which, like I said, is stupid. The other book is Guardians of the Galaxy. This book is published even for a less amount of time. The book that just started, this run just started just this past January, the same month as Captain Marvel, and yet this book is hitting the restart button after. Get this. Now, in the case of Thor, it was 14 issues. Guardians of the Galaxy after 12 issues. My God, Marvel. How stupid are you to restart a book after only 12 issues just because the writer got transferred to another book? Now, the books themselves have got fantastic writers to them. Thor is being taken over by Danny Cotis. I've met this writer. He is a fantastic writer. And solo book-wise, I believe this is the third solo book he's working on Marvel. Because the first one he did was Doctor Strange. And the other books I can think of he's done is Venom, which is the second book he got, which is going fantastically. And thank you, Marvel, for not restarting that book because the book did not need to be restarted again. This is probably about the third book he's done that's solo book wise. Yeah, he hasn't done a lot of books at Marvel. No, mostly he's done some ongoing series and some mini series. Not a heck of a lot of stuff. I mean, he only started in Marvel like last year. Yeah, he only worked at Marvel for about 2 years, and he hasn't done that much stuff. I mean, the first ongoing series he did was Doctor Strange. He also did Doctor Strange Damnation. He did Death of the Inhumans, which I thought was an okay miniseries. As more weaker books he's done. Let's see. There's also, of course, Venom, and now Thor, which I think is fantastic. Well, basically, before he did Thor, he did Guardians of the Galaxy. So at least he has some experience writing some cosmic characters, which I think is fantastic. Yep. And I think that's it. Probably. Now the whole premise, the relaunch of Thor, I don't know what it is. All as I know is that he's starting the book, which I'm looking forward to it. Guardians of the Galaxy, being taken over by Al Ewing, another really good writer. I have not met this guy. Unlike Danny Conan, so I've met him. Al Ewing, I have not. For Guardians, I believe this is like the fourth or fifth group book that he's done. Because he's done Mighty Avengers, Captain America Mighty Avengers, New Avengers, US Avengers, Ultimates 2. Let's see. I think that's it. This is by far the seventh group book he's done. Though it's the second sci-fi series he's done, because the first one he did was Ultimates, because he did a great job with Galactus, which I think was stupid. They had him go back to being the Lightbringer for about a year. Yeah, I'm not sure who's bright to do as a Marvel to basically undo that stupid change. Undo that change. Star Wars. When I saw basically who's going to write this book, this guy I also have met, Charles Scholl. Like, wow. It's like, he's moving up, basically, because he originally, the first two books he did for the Star Wars Marvel books, he did the Lando series, which was fantastic. The other book he did was Obi-Wan Anakin. My personal guess is Marvel must have loved what he did with these two miniseries, so they gave him his own ongoing series, gave him Poe Dameron. And my guess is, okay, the book was going so well, it's got good sales, got good reviews, give him Darth Vader. Yep, and just last year, it's like 1 year ago, they ended both books. Darth Vader ended after 25 issues, and Poe Dameron ended after 31 issues, and had 2 annuals, so Vader had 1. Excuse me. Yeah, Scholl hasn't done a lot of stuff since he ended a lot of his books. I think the most recent book he did was Marvel Comics Presents. But when I saw that he's doing Star Wars, I'm like, Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This book, I do know the premise of this book is that it's after the events of Empire Strikes Back. Though you have very limited time frame here for this one. You have 1 year worth of storytelling to tell. Basically, you have basically a year's worth of story to tell. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a lot of stuff that probably happened during that 1 year time skip, but in the case of the previous volume, I see when the series first started back in 2015, it started a year after the events of New Hope, and this book was covering 75 issues over the course of 2 years. Yes, 2 years. Of course, yeah, because the previous and the book ended with him going to Hoth. Yes, the last two issues were basically a tagline of Destination Hoth, which I think was fantastic. And Pac was doing a great job of the book. I'm not really sure why they ended this run for. I mean, in my opinion, he practically saved the book. Gillian himself basically did a little bit better toward the end of his run, but I kind of felt as though that the artwork suffered during his run, and when Greg Pak took over, he brought along Phil Noto, who did a fantastic job with the Poe Dameron book, who did all those fantastic covers for the series, and he did the interior artwork for the first year of the book before he handed it off to the guy who filled it for him for issue 7. Yes, and I think that that particular creative team worked fantastically. It felt as though it was kind of similar to how the book started back in 2015. Like, we kind of got back to what we love about the Star Wars book. But no, we have to end it. But at least Greg Pak is going something to the place really good. You see, because it was also announced that he's reviving the Darth Vader comic book, which I'm so happy with that. Like, oh my gosh, yes. Though, here's kind of the thing. Despite the fact the ongoing series for Vader basically ended in 2018, this year he's featured in two miniseries, two 5 or 6 issue miniseries, a one shot, and occasionally featured in Star Wars, the main book. But at least he's still around. Yeah, but as of when his book was on Title Hunt, he may not have had an ongoing series published this year, but at least he was still around and had books with his name on it. Yeah, two miniseries and a one shot. That was simply it. And I think that the book set, of course, for what Vader was up to during the 1 year time skip, basically is very interesting. And plus, I love the fact that Lando is joining the cast for Star Wars. Yes, though he was featured in one story arc for Star Wars. I believe it was toward the end of Jace Aaron's where he did have Lando featured for like one issue, but didn't have encounter Han, Luke, or Leia yet because he didn't meet him yet, which I think was really good on their part. And I love the fact he's part of the cast now because the whole point of the 1 year time skip is looking to find out where uh, Han Solo went after the events of Empire Strikes Back. I think it's great we finally are moving forward instead of being stuck in the same time period. Though who knows how? Like, I'm sure eventually they're probably gonna move. Like, my guess is they might move like to after Return of the Jedi. My like thing is they probably will say probably not long after the events of Shattered Empire. Yes, which I think that's a great place to start. And then from that point forward, up until, let's say, the Poe Dameron book, there's plenty of storytelling to do when it comes to Star Wars at that point. Yeah. Um, I'm now in the case of Doctor Aphra ending. I'm sad to see it go. Great comic book, but at least it's ending at a pretty decent number 40. At least ending at 20 or sometimes 25 issues. Yeah, this is by far one thing I did notice though. For a book that's on number 1, this is by far the longest spin-off ongoing series that the Marvel Star Wars line has had. I would say second longest is probably Poe Dameron. Yeah, because Vader kept getting stopped after 25 issues, which I thought was kind of dumb. But I would say the shortest one is probably Keenan. Yeah, and of course that was 12 issues. That was the shortest one. This is by far the longest one, and it had 2 annuals and one crossover with the main Star Wars book. And it's something though that the first crossover Star Wars had was a big hit at Marvel, not the second one. Second one was pretty disappointing, especially since it's very jarring when you change artwork from the main Star Wars book to the Dr. Aphra book, which in my opinion had much better artwork at that point. I mean, I had no problem with Simon Rowe's artwork. It's just the artwork he had for Star Wars was really awful. That was just my opinion, anyway. Because the way you draw humans looks so terrible. It looked like a piece of trash. Yeah, it looked pretty bad. And some people do agree with me. I had one person disagree with me about Simon Rowe's artwork on the book. Yep. Um, I think that's it when it comes to Marvel. When it comes to some of the good and bad news. DC, only a couple pieces of good news. One, that the Batman book has got a new writer, starting issue 86. Yes, 86. Not bringing starting number one. Marvel should basically take notes from DC. Stop relaunching your book after when you get a new writer on board. But here's the thing. By the time Tom King left, he was one of two writers who actually have been still on the book more than like a year or two at most. I mean, if you look at, let's say, currently at DC, there's only one book at DC that still has the same writer on the book since the book was relaunched back in 2016. You know what book that is? The Flash. Yes, Josh Williams is still on this book. Excuse me. Now, who's taking over the book? Who was the creative team for Batman? Star Wars issue 86 of the current volume is going to be on the writing duties. It's going to be James Tynion IV. I have met this guy. Very good writer, and he has experience writing Batman, and the fact that he actually has written an issue of Batman himself. I believe it was, he did write one filler issue for Batman. I believe it was issue 44, and he also wrote one of the annuals for the previous volume for Batman, so I think it's fantastic to take over the book. Who does doing the artwork? The awesome Tony S. Daney, which I think this does be a fantastic creative team in the book, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, Tony S. Daney has been on the book since, I believe since the current run. It came on toward the end of the current run of the book, which is going to end with the very next issue. Because issue 4 came out this week. This past week, yep. And he said the first thing he's going to do is put Dick Grayson back in his Nightwing costume. And he's going to get rid of the stupid Rick Grayson stuff. Yes. When I heard that, I'm basically like, yes, yes, yes. Because I think the Rick Grayson stuff is stupid. Though I'm liking what Dan Jurgens right now is doing with him, making him a talent. That's interesting. But the whole Rick Grayson stuff is purely stupid. I've never cared for it at all in the main book. In the Nightwing book. And I'm hoping, once I put Dick Grayson back in the Nightwing costume, could we please have a much better direction for the book? Probably a similar direction what Tim Seeley was doing. I like that direction. Not what the writers are doing recently. I have not cared for it at all. I mean, I'm liking what the recent issues did, basically make him a Talon. That was something that Scott Snyder actually was Kyle Higgins set up. Him becoming a Talon where he was supposed to become a Talon. And now he's become an actual Talon. Which, thank you, Dan Jurgens, basically following that up. And having him become a Nightwing again, great. I love it. It's a fantastic idea to do. Let's see, anything else? Not really. No, I know Wonder Woman did change creative teams recently. Yeah, I heard that Steve Langenbeck worked briefly, and because Julia Wilson left to run, I'm not really sure why she left for. Maybe because they want to take Wonder Woman in a new direction. It's possible. I mean, Wonder Woman's been really good. I have never encountered a really bad issue of the book. Heck, even the book changed writers a few times. At least the writers actually made pretty decent. Obviously, probably the weakest arc of the entire run so far is the Heart of the Amazon arc, done by the film writer. It's an okay arc. It's not terrible. It's just pretty weak compared to what Greg Rucka did and what James Robinson did right after this particular. I have nothing against the writer. It's just that the story was okay at best. Mm-hmm. And G. Will Wilson, in my opinion, has done a fantastic job with the book, especially as he made Giganta part of the Wonder Woman book. I mean, when was the last time she was part of the main Wonder Woman book? I mean, she appeared in none of the issues of the previous volume, and before the relaunch, I think Giganta appeared like once or twice during the Odyssey run. And before that, I think the last time that she appeared was probably before the 2006 relaunch of Wonder Woman. That's probably the last time I can think of she probably appeared. That was Reading DC. That I didn't read DC until 2010. Mm-hmm. And plus, I love the fact these two acts were teaming up. I thought it was really good storytelling. And plus, I love the direction that the writer was doing with Cheetah. Yes, Cheetah. Make it quite interesting. And somehow she got hands on a sword that apparently was previously in possession of Deathstroke of all things. Oh yeah, and speaking of Deathstroke, I had to bring this up here. Deathstroke just ended. Yep, they ended this volume after 50 issues, which makes it the third book to end this year after 50 issues from DC. Um, I'm not really sure why Deathstroke ended for, especially as Deathstroke has had a really good run. I've never. This is probably the one book from DC that's actually had good issues every single time it comes out. I've always looked forward to Deathstroke when it comes out, and I own almost every single trade that's come out for this current volume. I haven't got everything yet for the first volume yet, but the second volume got the entire thing. Third volume got the entire thing. This is of course is the fourth volume for the series. Maybe they're planning a relaunch. I have no idea. I hope they do something for Deathstroke, but I'm sad to see this book go. The other book to end this year, there's actually two books in this year, 50 issues. That was Green Arrow and Suicide. I'll talk about more about those. Oh yeah, there is one thing completely to Suicide. I'm gonna bring up right here. Suicide's gonna be end of this year, issue 50. I kind of almost forgot about this. That Suicide Squad is coming back next year, and Tim Seeley is taking over the book. And I'm like, Tim Seeley. That's interesting. Especially since he has written the book before when it was New Suicide Squad. But and here's the thing I love about the current run. I saw an image of it that Katana is nowhere to be seen in the book, and Killer Croc has been replaced with King Shark, which I think is really really good. Yeah, I think it's fantastic the fact that um, Suicide Squad is back the way it should be, not what the 2016 film did. Yeah, because I think it was kind of dumb that we had to use the 2016 film lineup for the run, and Seeley must have thought though, yeah, James Gunn realized though that Killer Croc has no business being part of Suicide Squad, so he put King Shark back in there, which I think is really good because he's more associated with Suicide Squad. Well, he's a little bit associated with Aquaman, but he's also associated with Superboy. But he's had like one encounter with Superboy. That was, of course, the rebooted Superboy that appeared back in 2011. He encountered him for like one issue of the first volume of Teen Titans of the current era. Yep. I think there was anything else. Hmm. No, not really. I'm still have not heard any news yet of what they're gonna do with Green Arrow. I mean, the most recent thing they've done with him is Bendis featuring event Leviathan. hmm Anything else? No, I think that's it. So basically, two books can do creative teams from DC. Loving what they do with Nightwing, and of course, three books. Oh yeah, also yeah, three books from Marvel getting relaunches. Just to sum it up, basically what I said. Three books getting relaunched: Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Star Wars, with three very good writers. Darth Vader book revived, and of course the Doctor Oct book ending, and of course the Deathstroke ending as well. Which I'm surprised the fact it ended because, like I said, really good series. It is something though. The end of the series not long after its last time saw a crossover, which was the Terminus contract cross, the Terminus Imperative crossover, which was cross between that and Teen Titans. Yeah. Here's hoping that they continue the series with a relaunch. Yeah, I mean, Christopher Reeves want to end this book fine, but why did they have to end the book in order for it to happen? No idea, okay? So yeah, that's it for this particular video. I wasn't originally planning to do this video today, but I kind of figured this is something I'm thinking about for quite a while to do. And I figured, oh, why not do this? The next thing I'm going to do is going to be Fire Force, okay? But see you next video. Bye.